BORTLE here, back from locals. My goodness, we have here a special guest today, the Houston Carter. Houston Carter, welcome to the channel, man.
Welcome to the channel, Bortle. It feels great being here, to be honest.
There you go. And believe it or not, I think it went 5-0 undefeated with this deck right here, right?
Yeah, I went 5-0. Very easy to, win with this deck. But yeah, other than that, 5-0.
All right. Well, so post ban list, what made you decide to play this deck? Salad here.
Well, to be honest, I was looking at the ban list and I honestly didn't want to play Tri Brigade anymore because I knew I had to run cat and I didn't have any cats. So I was like, I don't feel like ordering any. And I know it's going to be a pretty, like, about like $10 or 5 for a cat. So I was like, yeah, rescue cat. Yeah, rescue cat. I just didn't really feel like running it. I looked at like Prank Kids. I don't like that deck. Even though I think it's the best. Tried playing Drytron for a bit. It's just I kept on breaking a lot, even with like the ratios that me and Cam were doing. Still kept on breaking like terribly, and sometimes like Psycho Reader and Droll would just murk you. So I didn't want to play that, and it was between Striker, like a Striker and this, and I just went. Salamangreat has a really good matchup overall against everything, so I chose Salad.
Oh, and that's Cam the Man Neo for those new to the channel, right?
Yeah, Cam the man. Yeah, he's nice.
Nice. Well, basically, people peeking the goo right here. It's looking like Salad's always had like a huge amount of hand traps, right?
Yeah, Salad's always had like a really good like ratio of hand traps to like mix with their like traps with their main deck because like it's a combo control deck. So like your main point of the deck is just like get Wolf and like set traps and have hand traps in hand and stop the opponent, gain resources and just keep on doing it over and over till they, basically give up.
Before we start the actual deck profile, have any shoutouts, man?
Well, I don't really have any shout outs in particular. I just want to shout out basically everybody in the group chat, the Bozo chat. They all helped me and stuff, and I love being in it. I'd like to shout out Donnell for sure, because he's the GOAT. And also want to shout out Eric, because I promised him I'll shout him out in the next profile, my other half, Lord Fake. So that's really it. And Saul. Saul's nice.
You know what? Saul is nice. Well, without further ado, please take a look at the rest of the deck profile, man.
All right. Well, I ran 3 Ash, 2 DD Crow, 3 Phantasme, 3 Bell for the hand traps. I just thought that Bell's like the most generically good next to Ash because like it hits everything in the format essentially at the moment. And I also ran Phantasme because I really think that, like this deck has a really bad problem with like drawing the field spell with like other cards you don't need, like the trap card, like if you're going second. So I thought Phantasme was pretty good on fixing the hands. And DD Crow is just more of a tech card because DD Crow can hit engage. So like most bad striker players will just send engage straight off the bat with Hayate. So like they'll obviously go Kagari, try to grab it back, but instead you just crow the engage. Their game is usually over because they don't know how to play after it. It's wild, but yeah.
Oh man. Just a quick question. So, with the vast majority of hand traps out there, this was the best of your liking right here, like Ghost Bell over like I guess Valor and Permanent stuff like that.
To be honest, I wanted room for impermanence, but I couldn't really find it at the moment because I just made it on like the spot. Well, I could have like took out 2 DD Crows and a Will for an impermanence, and I could have took out the Phantasmes for Valors. It's just that it was just a local tournament. Just wanted to test it out and see how good it did. It did all right. I probably will change it, but but for right now, it was pretty good. I didn't really have no like complaints about them, to be honest. They were fine. And I also ran one Call by the Grave. The Call by the Grave was, it was just another anti hand trap card. Like I guess you can consider that a hand trap. So like I just ran those. And for the rest of the cards, I ran for like basically salad cards and cybers. I ran a 3 Flame Buffalo. The card says draw 2 every time, so you definitely want to start out with that card or at least have it in your hand. And you probably noticed there was no Lady Debug in this deck. I really don't like that card. It literally gets hit by every hand trap in the format almost, except for like DD Crow and like Ghost Bell. But like as soon as you go debug, they're either gonna have Impermanence, Valor, or some other hand trap or something to stop it like Gamma. That's the worst probably. They Gamma me, I'm just crying. So I didn't want to really have a debug in the deck because like it's just wanting to get hit and like not have any more follow-ups. And for the Salamangreat cards, I ran 1 Falco and 3 Foxy. I think 3 Foxy is standard at the moment. And 1 Gazelle, obviously. one Jack Jaguar. Oh, two Jack Jaguars. My bad. Two Jacks. You really want to have two Jacks for the desires because you really don't want to banish them. That's like one of your best cards for recursion. I think you really kind of need two in the deck. And three Spinny for the you can act for the Foxy plays. Just Spinnies in general, just good. Just a good extender, and it helps you get OTK, which I'll explain it later. And for the rest of the monsters, I guess you consider the monsters three Signet Minings and and one Circle. Three Signet Mining I think is standard in the one Circle. There's really nothing to say about that. And I also ran three Pot of Desires for consistency. Card's just great. I see people running two. That is just wrong. You definitely want to maximize on three Pot Desires. It definitely gets your engine going, or if not, two cards at the worst. And I ran one Sanctuary and then three Will. Will of the Salamangreat is basically Monster Reborn or Soul Charge. So I said might as well max out on it. And for the final two cards, I just ran two Roar and two Rage. The Rage is basically any like pop two, essentially. And Roar is just your negate. So you kind of need two for the desires. That's the only reason.
Yeah, perfect explanation there. It's perfect 40 as well. My goodness.
Yeah, perfect 40. Always have to have 40.
And as far as your extra deck goes, no surprise that Mirage Stalio came off the ban list, so everyone's like
Yeah.
hyping up the salad, but you're over here like dominating with it. So yeah, if you want to just run down the extra deck.
Yeah, I'll run down the extra deck to see if like people probably don't run this. I run one Abyss Dweller. That's just if it comes up really for like the Mirage Stalio play. Because like you can summon off the Falco, and then after that you can have like a Jack Jaguar in graveyard, like if you put it there with Gazelle or anything, or like with Foxy if you discarded it. So like it's just like a really good like card because almost every deck gets hit by Dweller. So I just ran one. Obviously one Mirage Dahlia because that one, but it's just a good turn one play. And I ran one Access. There's nothing really to say about Access. It goes for game, which with Update Jammer because all you do is essentially just need like one. Essentially, all you really need is Spinny to go with Splash Mage to make Access to make like a 5300 popper, which is like insane just off Spinny alone. But with like two Salamangreat cards, so say if you have like Spinny and Foxy, it's like an automatic like OTK if they don't have nothing to stop you. And no one's running Nibiru, so like that's just the automatic OTK. Usually, like I was killing people all day with that because like no one just had responses to it. And I ran a one Hita because people for some reason love contacting C in this deck. So when they contact C, I just go Hita, and they just look stupid. So that's why Hita's mainly in there, and plus it's just a good card, especially on his back of Ash or a Phoenix. So free, and it searches for Gazelle and Ash. No, it doesn't. Yeah, yeah, no, it doesn't search Ash, but it just searches Gazelle. For the salad cards, essentially, three Balinks, two Heat Leo, and three Wolf. Those are standard. I don't think that would ever change. And for the like last couple cards aside from Update Jammer, which I explained is Splash Mage, Transcode, and the update. Those are just like the cards that are like for your OTK essentially, and plus Transcode plus Wolf is pretty good. Like if you're playing against Striker because it can't target it, so no Widow Anchors, no Afterburners and stuff. So that's pretty nice.
Sweet. And as far as your side deck goes, it looks like it's a pretty standard. You're just maximizing all these staples here, right?
Yeah, it's pretty standard. To be honest, I'm just maximizing the staples for a local. Like Droll and Nibiru was for like Drytron, Tri Brigade, Salamangreat. Not Sky Striker though. Sky Striker was never gonna side into the Droll. You're probably saying why? Because they only have one engage. They usually only search one time at most. Most of the time they're dumping with Hayate. It's just not that good. Never really seemed like I really want to discard a card against a deck that's just gonna keep on getting more advantage. So you don't really need to side those any of these really essentially against Striker. But they're mostly for like combo decks and stuff. I ran a three Lightning Storm and three Twin Twister, for back row decks essentially. Twin Twister was mainly for like the El Shaddai decks and Prank Kids, while Lightning Storm was for like decks that just like set like Salamangreat, Striker, and Altergeist stuff like that. And I ran Solemn Strike. It's kind of weird, but in the side deck at least because people usually are like used to seeing it main deck. I really hate like main decking cards like Strike because they rely on me going first, and I really rather have hand traps in order to counteract that. So that's why put Strike in the side deck. So just in case if I go first, I can just have that along with my Roar and my Rage. And usually they're not going to usually break it unless they have like double Lightning Storm, like Lightning Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster or something.
That's true. Perfect. theory behind Strike too, and then people like they try to like outplay Roar, assuming that you don't have like I don't know a Balinx or something, then you just strike them out of nowhere. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Strike's just really good. Plus, like, it's good against a striker matchup. You can just like strike a random striker leak whenever like they just make it. Usually, if they don't have another Ray or some way to get to Ray, and you have Rage, like usually that's just game almost. Because if you have Roar, like it's just insane, like how good Strike is against that deck. But yeah, like Strike's just it's a pretty good card, like to run in the side deck. I think maybe Solemn Judgment maybe would have been better, but really don't like the life point cost. But 1,500, I don't mind paying every time. So that's why I chose Strike.
And thanks again, Houston, for being on the channel teaching Bortle Nation how to play Salad again.
Yeah. Salad's, I think it's a very good deck. It's definitely has potential this format.
And listeners, if you're not a part of Bortle Nation, sub for Bortle. It's that easy and it's free. Oh God, yes. Bortle out.